Anyone who has ever lost weight did this one thing, and they might not even have known they were doing it. And here is the most boring thing about being successful with weight loss and diet. All you need to do is achieve a calorie deficit. But it's much more complicated than that, isn't it? The first thing I want to do is show you some pictures of me, narcissist, topless, narcissist. Here's me in January 2022, and here is me about a week ago, over here somewhere. I hate this picture of me from January, and not because I have put on a little bit of weight comparatively to where I was earlier last week, but because it's more indicative of how bad my life was at that point. The October before that picture was taken, my sister had just died, and I cannot express to you how difficult that moment of my life was. So that takes us to the first check in our checklist. Have a little look around your life right now and be kind to yourself and compassionate to yourself. Perhaps there are things that are going on in your life that are really difficult. Maybe you have just come out of a bad time. Maybe you are going through a bad time, or maybe you are about to go into a bad time. Regardless of where you are, one thing to remember is to be kind. And that sounds kind of woke now that I've said it out loud. But be nice to yourself. In that part of my life, I was feeling a little bit hopeless and not very motivated for whatever was coming next. I was feeling pretty low. So before you do any of the easier steps, try to have a look within inside yourself and find out what's going on in your life that maybe makes these things a little bit more challenging. I went to see a therapist. God, this is personal. I went to see a therapist and that helped me get my life back on track. I stopped drinking as a result of seeing the therapist, and I found a new way to live my life, which ultimately made all of the next parts of this checklist far easier. Not to be too dramatic, but you know that saying, rock bottom is the foundation that I rebuilt my life around. That. When you face the things that are really keeping you down, everything else just starts to get a little bit easier and more manageable. And that makes the next steps and the next parts of this checklist way easier. Whether you're tracking your calories or not, one thing is for sure, your body is calories. Boring old calories. So I think it's always helpful to track a little bit, because then you can start to see what a real serving size of peanut butter actually looks like and how many calories are in it. It gives you more information. The hierarchy of importance, in my opinion again, is number one, total amount of calories. You want to set yourself a calorie target that helps you achieve the goal that you're looking for. If you want to gain weight, it's probably about 300 calories over your maintenance level. And if you want to lose weight, you can probably go up to 500 calories under where you're currently maintaining your weight. Next most important thing on the nutrition side of things is your protein quantity. It doesn't really matter if you're a vegetarian, a vegan, a pescatarian, or what's everybody else? An omnivore. Doesn't really matter. You want to be getting 1.6 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. I weigh 80 kilos and I aim to eat 150 grams of protein every day. Very often I miss that target and sometimes I go well over, but that is my aim. When you're in a calorie deficit, the likelihood is that you will lose body fat and you'll lose some muscle, and it's really difficult to put muscle on. So keeping your protein numbers high will help mitigate some of that muscle loss, which is mega important, isn't it? Fiber is a great target to have inside of your nutrition goals because it helps you maintain quality so that you're not just eating protein powder and porridge. Fiber can be found in vegetables, fruits, and beans and whatnot. Once you've accounted for your fiber and your protein in your daily calories, you can just let the carbohydrates and the fats fight each other for what's remaining. I do a lot of cycling, so if I'm out on the bike, I like to have porridge for breakfast. Sometimes I might go for brunch and then I'm going to have smoked salmon and poached eggs and avocado, and it's Fat City. So I just let them do whatever they do. Next is training. I want to be lean, but I don't want to look skinny. Important distinction during a fat loss phase to make sure you keep your strength training up. If you're monitoring the numbers that you're lifting each week, weights, reps and sets, and you start to see a big drop off in performance, you know that probably is coming from a lack of calories and maybe too much training. So you can balance your training to make sure that you're getting the most from it. Lift simplistically, I try to focus on 7 exercises, 3 to 5 sets on each exercise, and I lift towards failure. Lifting to failure isn't very popular at the minute. It will come back round, but it's really helpful if you're in a rush. Doing your cardio is really important for cardiovascular health. Surprising, that one, isn't it? But what you don't want to rely on is doing your cardio too much for your calorie burning. The simple reason is the exchange rate is really poor. I've got a study from Harvard that says 175 calories burnt for 30 minutes of walking, and that is 2/3 of a Mars bar. It's just not a great calorie burner, just doing like individual bits of cardio, but it is amazing for improving your cardiovascular health. And of course, it is really great for burning more calories each day, but it's really easy to compensate for that calorie burn, in my experience. It's a little bit ridiculous to say that not to overemphasize the calorie burn of cardio exercise and then talk about non-exercise activity thermogenesis. But NEAT is where you can make a really big difference, even though I said that cardio doesn't make that much of a difference. Whatever, I'm a hypocrite. You can make sure that you have a really active lifestyle, and NEAT is often about fidgeting, moving around, things that you're not conscious of. When you're in a really big calorie deficit, those things do start to reduce. So you want to be mindful that you want to maintain as much activity as you can muster. Otherwise, you'll be not doing the dishwasher and just laying down on the sofa all night, pretending that it doesn't exist, you know? So whenever you can, stand instead of sit, climb the escalator, take the stairs, all those types of things, they help increase the amount of activity you do in your general life, which is going to help you burn more calories. Handy. I've got another bit of science for you. There is a study on sleep. One group slept for 5 hours, the other group slept for 8 hours. I think intrinsically you know that sleep is good for you. You know it. It's like something. But there is also science that confirms this. Science that shows that 8 hours of sleep is better for fat loss than 5 hours of sleep. And that's really important to recognize how much sleep is going to improve your performance on the gym floor, in your cardio, at your work, and also how much it's going to improve the amount of fat you can burn. So prioritizing sleep, if you get all of those other bits in order, I think the sleep becomes better because you're not so stressed and you're not dealing with difficulties. But making sure that you're mindful of that and getting your 8 hours a day. The reality of losing weight is that it's quite simple, but not easy. The thing is though, that keeping weight off is really challenging. People make lots of very drastic changes to their life and that helps them achieve weight loss in the short term. But then there's that rebound. And what we want to do is create a life and habits that help us keep the weight off. So going through all of those things and making them part of your lifestyle as opposed to part of the next 8 weeks, that will be really important and helpful for that long-lasting weight loss and then weight maintenance. So the recap is: be kinder to yourself, monitor your calories, focus on your macronutrients, do your strength training, do your cardio training, lead an active lifestyle. So if you build all of these things into your life now, when bad things happen in the future, you know that you can be the person that stands up to those things. Ultimately, give yourself space. If during a time where I was dealing with a lot of grief, the worst thing that happened to me was I got a little bit fatter, it went okay. If you have any tips, tricks, hints, hacks, that was nice, why don't you put them in the comments below? And I'm going to be doing a video a week with more of these long form videos to try and solve some of life's mysteries. Cheers.